Welcome to the Healthy Habit Hot Seat, where we chat to extraordinary humans and world-leading health experts to dive deep into the intricacies of the daily habits that have shaped their success. Remember, success leaves clues, right? I'm your host and resident healthy habit coach, Loz Antonenko, and I cannot wait to help you re-energize your life so you too can create opportunity, vitality, and abundance to become the master of your own incredible healthy destiny. Now, let's get into today's conversation. So guys, welcome to the Healthy Habit Hot Seat. I'm super stoked to chat to you, both Dr. Sheehab Faragallah and Dr. Ibrahim El-Deeb. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat, guys, and welcome.
Thanks, Loz.
Thank you, Loz.
So to start things off, I want you to both imagine that we're waiting in line at a conference and we've only got about 30 seconds before we have to part ways and go back to our seats. If you had an important message for our listeners about who it is that you are and what it is that you guys do, what would that be in 30 seconds?
Okay, well, we are founders of Myospots tongue elevation trainers. And the message is that we're trying to get as many people to start breathing properly through their nose and position their tongue. There's a huge problem out there that we see every day, and we want to try and solve that problem. That's what me and Ibrahim are about, I guess.
And that's something you're obviously
at the moment.
Very passionate about.
Yes, absolutely. It's been something we've been working on for the past couple of years. And we're very passionate because it's a huge problem, and I see it every day in the clinic, and it's something that we feel like we're trying to create a small solution to a very big problem.
Amazing, guys. And audience, guys that are listening, just for your reference, I'm going on my own journey, getting some jaw work done for jaw expansion and some tongue tie work. And I actually came across this product, Myospots, a little while ago on my travels, and it is revolutionary. And these guys are going to go into that a little bit later on. But Sheehab, you love indoor soccer, mate. You love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you love spending time with your kids. What would be your top tip for sustaining energy?
I think have a balanced life. That's the biggest thing from my point of view. You know, I don't work 7 days a week. I try to keep work and play and rest and spiritual life all in balance. Spending time with the kids, making sure I do exercise, making sure I work a little bit, making sure I have time to myself, time to read, and time with my wife and family. So just balancing, that's the most difficult thing. So that's my advice.
That's a great tip. And I think segregating things into different pockets so that everything gets our own attention when it requires it. So when we're with our family, we are 110% with our family. I love that. Thank you. So Ibrahim, you've published over 30 research papers, mate. That is a solid effort. And that obviously takes a lot of self-discipline to do something like that when it comes to, you know, writing things and researching. So what would be your top tip to ensure self-discipline for anyone who's about to embark on some sort of writing journey, whether it's a thesis, a book? What would be your tip?
Yeah, I think probably if you are looking for a magic advice, it's persistence and patience, because honestly, this is the key. And I can say this with confidence that it works for all types of professions or in every discipline. So life in research is not easy, as you can imagine. And I spent almost 20 years of my career, most of the time inside the lab, which might not be pretty exciting to some people. Sometimes it's it's frustrating, especially when you try hard to achieve something and it's not working, and you need to figure out what's going on. So yeah, you need to have passion about what you do, and you need to be patient. And I think this is the key thing. If you compare in any field, who are the most successful people, they might not be smartest or what you can say, the strongest or the most brilliant, but they are definitely among the most passionate and persistent people, because they don't give up, they keep trying and they keep working. And this would be my advice.
So love what you do, guys. Love what you do, because that is the most important thing with anything, really, even if it's not writing. Thanks for the tip. Guys, I would love to know, because you guys are so both heavily invested in the importance of holistic health and assisting people with improving their sleep, physical activity, and overall health, for somebody who's looking to improve their vitality by looking at tongue elevation and nasal breathing, what's the first thing you suggest that they actually do?
So if you're looking at tongue elevation, the absolute first thing is to practice tongue elevation, because when you start raising your tongue, and it's really important that you understand how the tongue is elevated. You don't want to just elevate it between the teeth. It's got to be just behind those front teeth, behind the whole tongue that elevates to the roof of the mouth. And once you start doing that, then immediately you should find that your lips come together. And when your lips come together, you'll start nasal breathing. For some people, it's very difficult because they've been mouth breathing, like what you were talking about yourself before. So for them, it's very difficult to start transitioning. But once you start doing it, and slowly that difficulty becomes easier, and you start nasal and your tongue starts elevating habitually. It's very difficult. I mean, that's one of the reasons we decided to make Myospots, because you often forget to do it, and reminding yourself to do it is difficult. But if you just start one step at a time, whenever you think about where your tongue is, just raise it to the roof of your mouth. That'll be the first place to begin with, I think.
And Ibrahim, do you have something to add there?
No, I not really. To be honest, add is because Sheehab probably spent most of his career in this area of helping people actually to breathe properly and increasing the awareness of importance of nasal breathing. I know Sheehab for a long time, but we started to work together on Myospots like 2 years ago. And before that time, just like most of the people, I didn't really realize the importance of nasal breathing. And okay, people breathe through their mouth. What's the big deal? I didn't actually get the importance of this. But yeah, you can see now how big the awareness of people about healthy diet, for example. So you need to be very cautious of what you eat and what you drink. Okay, this is really very important, but it's actually equally important, probably more important, how you breathe. And just not realizing the importance of this makes the problem worse, because people have a lot of issues and they don't actually make the link and realize that this is all because of breathing. So the awareness comes, I think, even before training people how to breathe properly. They need to know first that there is a problem when you breathe through your mouth, and you need to breathe properly through your nose.
Optimize your male and female hormones with Be Spunky and Be Genki supplements, choosing from Reboot for men, Balance for women, and Recover for performance, all containing natural and organic TGA-listed Australian-made ingredients. These nutraceuticals are designed to offer stress relief, improved strength and stamina, enhanced drive and overall well-being, and I swear by them, so does my husband. Their active formulas are a unique blend of natural and organic herbs and active ingredients, and the highest performance leaders and trainers are already taking it. Why waste more time? Visit bespunky, bespunki.com.au and begenki, begenki.com.au. Use code LOZLIFE and save 10% at both sites. Yeah, and for somebody that's been a mouth breather pretty much my entire life, and not realizing that your tongue is actually designed to rest at the top of your mouth, I had no idea about oral posture. I didn't know about any of that stuff. I didn't understand about dysfunctional breathing. So for somebody like me who has a tongue tie, for example, who really would be challenged with a high palate to even put my tongue at the roof of my mouth. How do you suggest integrating tongue exercises into somebody's daily practice?
So in your situation, having a tongue tie, so I can relate it back to patients in the clinic. So with children, it doesn't matter if they've got tongue ties, if they've got a high palatal vault, if they've got really narrow mouths. The very first thing I get them to do is try a Myospots, because once it goes in their mouth and their tongue elevates, then even if it doesn't fit properly, it's uncomfortable because their mouths are so small. But even if it doesn't fit properly, what happens is that the muscles begin to strengthen. And as that happens, you start getting a neuromuscular connection with your mind. And when that happens, then it becomes, after a while, become habitual. So even if you've got, say for instance, you've got like yourself a tongue tie and your tongue literally can't go up to the roof of your mouth. Well, even with a tongue tie, if your lips are together, you can get close to the roof of your mouth, even if it's just part of the tongue to the roof of your mouth. Most people can do that. It's only when you open up wide that you're like, oh my God, that's a long way. I can't get up to the top there. But the idea is that once it's up there, your lips come together, you shorten that distance between the palate and your tongue, and you can do it. Now, you get in the clinic who literally have never done it before. So their tongue is like a floppy piece of flesh that's sort of, doesn't know where to go, doesn't have a home. And when you first get them to do that, they start getting aches and pains because the muscles have never worked before. So that was you. So that's what happens. But the very first thing is to see if they can get their tongue up there. Sometimes you get some people with, problems with their nose. They'll have obstructions. And if there is an obstruction, you had that as well? And
yeah, so, I've had 2 septoplasties.
So you've been through everything. So in some situations, what I tend to do is I get them to do the water test. So they put a little bit of water in their mouth. And in order for you to hold that water, you've got to close your mouth. And it forces you to nasal breathe. And I'll see if they can do that for 2 to 3 minutes. And if they can breathe through their nose for 2 to 3 minutes, then the chances are that they can nasal breathe. And if they can nasal breathe, it means that we can get their lips together and their tongue up to the roof of their mouth. And that's a start. Now, like you said, it's going to be a struggle for so many people because their maxilla is so narrow. But you have to start somewhere. And you start with a narrow mouth. And then you can go, in some situations that maxilla widens, especially in children. And even in adults, you get some shifting in the maxilla. And sometimes you need a bit of help. Like, for example, like what you're doing, you're getting some expansion and things like that. And so that's what I'd start. I'd start to see if they can breathe through their nose. If they can do that, then they should be able to elevate their tongue, even with a restriction. And then after that, so the idea is that if you've got a tongue that's restricted, you want to train that tongue before they get the tongue tie release. Because one of the problems is that you can get reattachment of the tongue tie after the operation. I mean, there's some great surgeons out there that do the sutures and things like that to prevent it from reattaching. But you want to get that tongue as strong as possible before you get the tongue tie release, so that all the tissues are nice and stretched and it's ready to start going up. So
yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So there's a lot involved, guys, but the reality is that your mouth is like the gateway to your entire digestive system. And what I'm learning in my experience is that people with chronic autoimmune conditions and inflammatory stuff going on, a lot of the time their breathing is dysfunctional. So if there's ways to increase the function of your breathing and even create relaxation and that sense of calm in your nervous system just by having the tongue at the roof of your mouth. Like for me, my tongue was it didn't have a home. It was darting around all the time. I was always on edge. Like I think about my sympathetic and my parasympathetic nervous system constantly being like in battle with each other. And of course I would end up with an inflammatory autoimmune condition that plagues me for eternity. Like until that gets fixed, to me, like there are so many people out there who suffer from chronic health conditions of an inflammatory nature who literally have no idea about anything you've just spoken about. And this already is now new information, and you don't know what you don't know. This could be the one thing that actually changes the trajectory of your future health and vitality. And I know just doing the tongue exercises, as much resistance as my body gave it, I was getting aches and pains and headaches. If I stuck my tongue to the roof of my mouth now, it actually releases all of my neck. All of the fascia now that sits beneath all of that, where it all attaches in. I love doing it. It's super weird. And I walk around on a walk. I have this trigger every time I take my dog for a walk. I do tongue exercises. So I walk my dog like at least twice a day. And I do this. I walk around like this. And I'm doing things, and people must look at me going, is she crazy? What's this woman doing? But you know, that's my trigger, and that way I ensure it gets done all the time. But you know, thank you so much for your advice, guys. You know, that is fascinating stuff. And guys listening, take note of all of that. If you're somebody that has a lot of health problems, maybe you should look at your mouth and your breathing. Now, for both of you, I'd love to know what has been a recent personal professional highlight for you over the past 12 months. Ibrahim, we might actually start with you, mate.
Yeah, aside from Myospots, because actually, as you may know, I'm a research scientist at Griffith Uni, and I work on a big project that targets treatment for another nasty virus, a respiratory virus as well, that has been there for ages, and it's a very common virus. It infects everyone in some stage of their life more than once, especially children. And it's a very dangerous virus for people with suppressed immunity, such as people with autoimmune diseases or those undergoing organ transplantation. It can actually result in mortality. So we in Griffith Uni, we are actually the only team who was actually actively working on discovery of treatments for this virus. And about a year ago, we successfully signed a collaboration deal with industry partner to bring developments of this treatment to clinical trials. And hopefully, probably in a year's time, we will have a candidate going to clinical trials to get first treatment for this virus.
That's so exciting. Wow, what a highlight. How do we, I don't even know how to top that now. So
impossible.
Yeah, can you top that one, mate?
No. Should I give a pass on that one?
But Myospots for you guys, I mean, that's been a work in progress.
Yeah, definitely a work in progress, and it's definitely changed the way I practice dentistry as well. So with respect to how I practice dentistry in the clinic, well, now most of my patients are myofunctional therapy patients, and it's really cool because I get to trial different protocols that me and Ibrahim, you know, we're working on together. You know, breathing assessment protocols, trying out different, because obviously it's something that hasn't been, you know, well, it's new, and being so innovative, we get to work out what the protocols are, and so we get to try different things, and in the end, I think it's really good. It's cool because now we're slowly customizing different methods and different protocols so that we're able to treat children and adults. So that's fun. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you know, to be on that cusp of something groundbreaking for people and to have that sort of level of change, that's exciting for sure. And both of you, I mean, that was a great one, mate. So you're both pretty much on par with your highlights over the last 12 months. So for both of you, obviously you work quite closely together, but who are the types of people that you surround yourselves with in your support network and your closest circle of influence?
Myself. So I have a lot of clinical mentors that I always have around, and I'm really lucky because where I work at Gold Coast Holistic Dental, we've got some top-notch practitioners there, and they have been in the industry for a very long time. And so I surround myself with them. I also have a group of business associates that I'm always, seeking advice from them, understanding about, things like social media, understanding things about, entrepreneurship, things that I have to learn because, I have been in and out of business a little bit, but not to the extent that we'd like to. And there's a lot of unknowns. So that's the professional network. In terms of friends, well, they're the same friends that I've had for a very long time, and I won't exchange them.
And Ibrahim, what about you, mate? Like, who are you surrounding yourself with a similar bunch of people?
Yeah, honestly, again, because it actually very much being affected by what we are doing in our life. So on the research side and the lab side, in my work in Griffith, the group of people I'm surrounding myself with is actually my colleagues in research in different areas and different disciplines. In a time when we used to travel and attend conferences before COVID, it was a great chance to meet people from different countries, from different universities, and we do really miss this right now. But a very good thing also about our work now with Myospots is that it opens new doors for us every day, and we get to know new people all over the world, clinicians, practitioners, researchers. You can see actually how much interest, even actually some patients who have the passion after they use Myospots to actually spread the word and increase the awareness of importance of breathing and tongue exercise. So I'm very glad with what we are seeing, because on personal relations level also, this is actually a big gain.
Yeah, and you'd attract some awesome people like into your circles. I can imagine just the fans that you would create from having such a transformational impact on their lives. I mean, you would become friends with those people. They'll be there spreading the word for you. And hey, say heaps on marketing too, right? When you got a crew of raving fans.
It makes a big difference, yeah.
And yeah, honestly, actually, you feel the value of what you do when you see that actually people are thankful that they had a change in their life and their health because of you. And yeah, we are very fortunate actually that we could do this.
Yeah, man, totally understand exactly where you're coming from. To wrap up this conversation, guys, there's no doubt that you've both created quite extraordinary lives. It's a pretty big question, but what would be your top 3 tips to living a fulfilling and purposeful life?
Who wants to go first for that one?
It is a big question, right?
Well, from my point of view, like I mentioned at the start, I have a balanced life. That's probably number one. And I'd probably cheat a little bit and use what you said early on, just to recap and just to be present for each one of those facets of life, because you don't want to be doing one thing and thinking about something else all the time. If I'm with my daughter, I need to be present with her. If I'm with, friends, I should be present with them. And I think the last thing I always say is to have some kind of spirituality in your life. I believe in that very strongly, just from cultural and religious backgrounds. I think that's very important. So that would be my 3 tips. Yeah. Ibrahim.
I'll probably steal 2 out of your 3. So I think balance is a key thing, as Sheehab mentioned, and as he said, it's very important, and it's a key for success, because if you start to lose this balance, it doesn't matter how much you try hard to succeed in some, because you will know that you are actually missing some other important things. The second point, I'll bring back my earlier advice about being passionate and about what you do. You need to love what you do to succeed in doing it. And I'll steal the third point from Sheehab about having a spiritual life. And again, it's a balance between what you do to satisfy yourself and be there for your family and the ones you care about, and also to feed the spiritual part in your soul.
And I love that you both shared that as a point, because it's quite a poignant topic. I have this conversation with a lot of fascinating people from all around the world who are high achievers or people that have, been successful on their own path, whatever that looks like for them. And so many people, so many of my guests always at this question, they always say, it's believing in something bigger than yourself and connecting with something that's bigger than you. And that's spirituality, it's religion, it's meditation, whatever that is for you, super important. I've noticed that is a particular habit of people that live successful and fulfilling lives. So thank you so much for sharing, guys. Absolutely had a ball chatting to you, and I'm looking forward to our next conversation where we get to dive deeper into the daily intricacies of your lives, because success leaves clues. Thanks for hanging out, and ciao for now.
Thank you, Loz. Appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for joining us this week on the Healthy Habit Hot Seat. Make sure to visit lozlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, I'd be stoked with a 5-star rating on iTunes. Better still, tell a friend and share the love. If you loved this episode, you might want to check out my book, The Healthy Habit Handbook, available in softcover, ebook, and audio form on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Balboa Press, and all good bookstores. Be sure to tune in for our next episode for your fortnightly dose of inspiration from some of the world's most successful and healthy lifestyle masters. Remember, stay inspired. I'm Loz Antonenko, and ciao for now.